Hey guys, Expert Layman here, and welcome to the Grinding Meaning stream. No crazy suicide runs into Scarlet Monastery tonight. Just some Mageweave farming, and some other topics. We are in Daenerys. And I like farming these guys. A lot of times with farming, it's about being able to keep going. Like, yes, there might be a mob that has the absolute best drop rate and, you know, whatever. But if it's boring to you or isn't a good match for your class to be killing, go someplace where you're having more fun. I have a video posting shortly where I'm farming elites down here. That's pretty fun. Now, these guys don't run that far or fast, so you don't have to worry so much about them resetting. But it's still good to do two at once, just to make sure. They also don't have ranged attack, which is, you know, really nice. Oh, sure. Yeah, the title's a little strange. Fear Shaming and the Crab Bucket. Maybe I should start with the Crab Bucket. Hold on for just a second. Yeah, just die by that other mob. That's awesome. I'm here. May as well kill everything. Not giving up my loot. I'm gonna take all his mana. This is not right when they don't have any loot. The crab bucket is an analogy. I don't actually know if this is true, but it's plenty useful even if it's not technically true. One of those metaphorical truth things where it's said, I've heard it said that you don't actually have to put a lid on a crab bucket, because if any of the crabs get a grip and start climbing out, the other crabs will pull them back down. And this is something, I know, it's an analogy. Rocket League. Yes, I'm going to play WoW and talk about Rocket League, but excuse me. But you get this feeling like everybody's trying to hold you back in Rocket League, and you're not wrong. It's just more complicated than that, where this weird psychology develops. He just, like, there we go. And it feels so toxic, which is why I didn't play ranked for a really long time, and I hardly ever do, but I've been doing it recently. Because I was going to be doing this topic, and I thought it was time to familiarize myself with, like, a bunch of people drowning, just trying to shove somebody else's head down so they can get a breath. And that's kind of what it feels like a lot, and I'm sure it's not unique to Rocket League. But it's this weird psychology that evolves where a simplified version of it would be something like, if you're not going to let me be the badass here, I'm going to sabotage this game, so you better play along with what I want to be true. That's probably the most toxic version. Probably not even the most common, but yeah, they do have knockbacks, and that's kind of annoying. And they got a couple levels on me, so. I really should take this more seriously. When I was out here farming elites earlier, kind of hard to take the normies seriously. Yeah. I've overestimated my ability to talk and play at the same time. But I really enjoy cooperative play. I love playing Rocket League with people that are there to like improve their skills and work as a team and win the game and have fun and all that stuff. But a lot of the people there, that they're there for other reasons. And I used to be like this, oh, they're just this angry internet nerd, you know, haha, get his kind of thing. But there's a lot of people out there, a lot of young guys that just, they get shit on by like everybody, and like gaming is like the only place where they can garner anything resembling a win. And like that kind of winning is kind of like empty calories. It'll keep you going minimally, but you can't really sustain yourself on it. Another topic I was going to do called like micro winning or micro wins, where you just, whether it's self-induced or whether you're really, you know, kind of in a pressed state, you just try to garner whatever wins you can from anybody at any opportunity. God damn. Ah, resisting. Oh, not a phrase. That sounded weird. So that's essentially the crab bucket, where everybody just gets in this mentality that, like, I don't belong here. I should have a higher rank. It's these idiots in my way that are the problem. But the problem is they draw you into being one of them, which has been really interesting this last time that I played ranked. Because the reason I didn't play ranked is because people are just so aggressive and constantly trying to push you. Like, you can advance, but you basically have to take the bitch role. You have to stay in back, you got to play defense, you got to set other people up, you know, because if you try to go and take shots, they'll just try to take the ball from you, or if you're performing too well. Okay, here's one of the toxic divides. If you're playing well, but if you're playing exceptionally well, to the point where it looks like you can carry the team, people will kind of typically defer to be like, they're pragmatic. They want to win this game. If you got matched with somebody who can, you know, kick ass, screw it. Let's just get this win and get out of here. But I think a lot of people go for the strategy of I got to go in and I got to dominate this game so that people get in line and I can garner a win. So I think it's assuming that role of dominance is the thing that makes them win. And it seems to be a contagious philosophy. But recently, I just, you know, I've gotten so zen and so, like, people can't seem to pull me into their dramas, like, hardly at all anymore, and I'm just, like, relaxed all the time. And I was actually able to bring that into ranked, and that's the first time. But, it's not that I don't take it seriously. I definitely do, but a weird thing happens in ranked where you will get... The game... The way that I have a really good experience in Rocket League and casual is I've gotten really good at spotting the toxicity early and just getting out before it fully matures. And you can find really, really nice, really cooperative people to play with who are there for the same reasons as you. And I can usually figure out within the first minute whether it's a game. And then I can find what I call the secret garden, which is where the nice players hide. And it's a real place and you can get there. But you gotta belong or you will never find it. But you can't leave ranked. You'll get like a freaking 5 or 10 minute or whatever penalty where you can't even do casual if you do that. So when the game is clearly over and somebody will not freaking forfeit, this weird little ethical dimension opens up to where I just really don't care about this game anymore. It's now a lobby with, you know, people, and we're just screwing around, and I'm gonna have some fun. And I get into a weird state to where I'm actually playing exceptionally well. I think it's because I just don't... It's not that I don't care, it's just like some of the conventions are gone of like my, I don't know, this kind of ethical system I use to interact with the game. and being able to just kind of cut loose and do whatever is a lot of fun. And sometimes I end up winning, you know, like more often than I would have expected. I guess the point being, I didn't realize that, like, I'll sometimes assume that dominant role that I mentioned before without really realizing it, and people will get out of the way, and I start to understand a little bit better, like, how the whole system works. There are enough people there for bad reasons, but their motivations are close enough to people with... They align enough with the more, I don't know, reasonable way of looking at the game. Will he aggro the other one? I'm kind of curious. Yep. You know what? Screw this. Last two of you I killed, you didn't even drop anything. So yeah, when I think of the crab bucket, I just kind of think of this general analogy, and it exists all over the place, of where you just kind of get into this, like, drowning mentality, and you're just trying to push anybody else down so you can get a breath. The other thing I mentioned was effort shaming, and that's kind of a weird one. I'm not sure if that term exists out there, but it kind of happens when, okay, we all have things we know we need to be taken care of and doing, and we know what the right choice is and what would benefit us the most. And for whatever reason, in certain contexts, we just can't get ourselves to do that thing we know we need to do. Can't understand why. Just can't bring ourselves to it. Which is kind of hard to deal with. Like, it feels like you're not in control. It's like, I should be able to do this. So, like, it's often a little point of shame. Like, and it could be simple stuff too. It's like, it's fairly unique to the individual. But there are some things that you could actually do, but you just don't care enough to get them done. And those two things kind of exist at the same time. I'm not explaining this all that well. When you're mad that you can't do a thing that you think you should be able to do, and you kind of repress it and you don't think about it, and then somebody comes along and is doing the thing that you can't seem to get yourself to do, that you would be angry at yourself for, but you don't really think about it. Now you got to think about it, and that anger that should have been at yourself is now redirected at that person. And in this context, it's effort. You're actually trying to do something, and somebody else has made an effort or thinks they should be able to do that thing but can't seem to bring themselves. You're just a reminder of, like, some kind of failing that they have in their mind. Okay, see if I can get a little more specific here. YouTube channel. I've experienced this in real life. As long as you're... Maybe I should start with a different analogy. Okay, a better one is, like, you're in a family, and the family, you're kind of, you know, if you're in a family of, like, more or less losers, and everybody's kind of happy in their little ruts, you know, because misery loves company, and validating, you know, laziness, you know, is easy to do when you got, you know, other people around you opting into the same thing. It's like, kind of diffuses your responsibility. But if one person in that group, family, whatever, decides they want something better, and they start making changes to themselves to try to, I don't know, get to a better place, it's very common for the other people to take great offense to this. Like, it's an attack on them. Like, oh, you think you're better than us? You're gonna go out and whatever? Are you dressing like, you know, you're not a loser? What does that say about us? That's one common way that it manifests. But with, like, it was interesting with the YouTube videos. As long as my videos were terrible and nobody was watching it and I had no idea what I was doing and I was almost certainly going to just, like, peter out on this and not follow through, nobody cared. But, like, you could almost see it when I started making something that wasn't terrible, you know, something that people might actually have an interest in. Suddenly I was in this other category. And like, it was really confusing to me for a while. Because they kept trying to push me into this role of, like, this And this happens all the time, and let me tell you, if you want to have a pain-in-the-ass Rocket League experience, put dash YouTube at the end of your name. and I'm not against the trolling of wannabe streamers or YouTubers and stuff. Like, that can be fun. But stream the attention, overtly attention-seeking type. Which is the role people kept trying to cast me into. Which was weird. Huh. But a lot of it came from, like, and a lot of these people, like, they're upset because, like, they could be doing they believe they could be doing a better job than me. And part of the pain is, yeah, they probably could. I'm not all that good at this stuff. And my only real talent is, like, getting good at things I'm bad at, and it takes me a really long time. Yeah, it's just whenever you shine a light on something somebody's decided they don't want to think about, they're not going to have a positive reaction to you. Knock me back, I knew it. Yeah, I'm usually a little more efficient than this, but I'm splitting my cores over multiple tasks. So it kind of leads to something that happened here on my server recently. And maybe I should set that up a little bit more. There's two fundamentally different ways of negotiating with the world to get what you want out of it. Two different philosophies. One is you're not fitting into the world the way you think you should. So you make a change to yourself so that your future interactions with the world end up leading to the things that you want more. But you have to make a change to yourself, and then, like, the world just kind of, like... The world doesn't change, but the world isn't the same with a different you. If that makes any sense. But the other philosophy is kind of a Machiavellian, borderline sociopathic idea that you need to decide what you are and what should happen, and then you go try to impose that on the world. You try to make, like, basically socially engineer what it is you think should be, and this is essentially a loser strategy. Because it's basically a way to avoid growing up. Growing up is basically about, like, burning out the childish parts of yourself so that you can be, you know, useful. Sorry. Got a distraction and lost my train of thought. Don't you freaking dare go in there. Damn it. Oh, wow, he didn't get him. And the way some people cope with the whole, like, effort shaming thing, where somebody's challenging their identity because they've got this idea that you are down, and I'm up, and you need to assume the proper posture of someone in a position beneath me, and you're not doing that shit. What's with all the effort? Are you trying to make me look like an asshole? Well, if you're trying to make me look like an asshole, well, I'm just going to be an asshole back to you. It's kind of the rationalization. So they will try to go out and manufacture a situation so that reality reflects what it is they think it should be. And currently isn't. Yeah, I keep bouncing back at this, but something like this happened recently. Having YouTube after your name in Rocket League is a good way to have people come to your channel who aren't very happy with you because of something that happened in a game. The funny thing is, if somebody pisses you off and you find out they have a YouTube channel, if you want to screw them, the last thing you ever do is go to that channel. If you think, like, going to the channel and leaving a comment or for going through and spamming a bunch of dislikes is gonna screw them up, you're mistaken. Like, I'll explain. I'm gonna get myself killed. Okay, I'll just get into the story. There's somebody I was. I'd posted a video, just like one of the silly music videos. It's the one set to Benny Hill where I'm killing Gorlash, that 47 Elite. And okay. And I posted it, put it in Guild Discord. Fun, silly video. Within like an hour, I happen to be looking at my analytics, and suddenly like dislikes start popping up over my channel, and I don't get that many dislikes, but to be fair, I don't get that many likes either. And which was kind of weird. So I always kind of noticed that, like, oh, apparently I pissed somebody off, which is weird because usually when something like this has happened, it's like I know the event that triggered it. It was like somebody getting all butthurt in Rocket League or something. But there was no such event. The only thing that happened was I posted that one video and linked it in Discord. Didn't think much of it, didn't figure I'd get any answers to this. So, Guildy's looking for people for a dungeon. And I'm thinking I might be able to do it, but I thought I was a little low, so I actually asked him, you know, hey. And I a couple levels low, oh, no big deal. Get in the dungeon and... Well, also, person decides to, like, sit in the city and for, like, a half-hour AFK, making people wait, which is, you know... Person has a history of doing this, and let me tell you, making people wait, that's not an accident. That's one of those micro wins I was talking about earlier. How people try to act out the reality that they want to be true instead of, like, you know, trying to actually make it real by changing themselves. And the tank seemed, he didn't seem like he understood the dungeon. Like, I'm not going to say he was like an idiot or anything, but like, there are certain pulls. I'm trying to stay vague on the details because I don't want to like make it about that person. But it didn't seem like they knew where they were going because they kept moving past areas where there were, anybody who's tanked it would know there were patrols that are going to come up behind you. And that happened more than once. And I was, you know, lower level than the others. So when that patrol comes up behind the group, even if you are standing in the middle of the group, if you are like a couple levels lower than everybody else, they're going to run right for you. And then the whole thing starts coming together. Like, oh, Talon backed up into a group and wiped us. It's like, the fuck? No, nothing of the sort. Like, why would you say that? And then just kept pushing it. Like, seriously, I'm looking for a freaking apology because that is a really malicious thing to accuse someone of, especially if they didn't do it. Wouldn't relent. It's like, okay, well, I'm not running with someone who's going to tell malicious lies about me. And it wasn't too long after that I started to realize the events were almost certainly connected. That here's a person that almost certainly could run a better YouTube channel than me, but for whatever reason can't get themselves to do the things they need to do to make that happen. So when I make a video that, like, isn't terrible, like, I'm supposed, you know, when they talk about people walking around with their nose in the air, I'm not sure everybody knows what that means anymore. When someone walks around with their nose in their air, it's a way to artificially put everyone else beneath them. Like, and when you have that kind of psychology, and you have someone who you have classified as beneath you, doing something that is, I guess, sort of above you, you need to correct that thing. And the idea that you go this far to try to manufacture a situation to, like, knock me down a peg, like, if you put a small amount of that effort into, like, improving yourself, you would have, you know, I just feel bad when people, like, sabotage themselves in this way. It's not like this is the first time he's employed the strategy. Like, if you're going to go around trying to cut down all the high grass around you so that you don't seem so short, that's an endless endeavor. And I'm not even the high grass. Oh. But it basically comes back to the effort shaming. And the crab bucket. Yeah. These guys don't actually drop that much Mageweave. And, you know, the farming thing is really just an excuse, because I can't just sit in front of a mic and talk. It's really, really difficult for me. It's not my thing. So I just kept trying to find context in which I could, like, speak into the void. And this seems to be one of them. And if I can make it work here, it's kind of like psychic abilities. Like, if psychic abilities were real, there was really a signal there, you know, that you could pull out of the noise, you could refine it, you could hone it, you could take it someplace, do something with it. So, my ability to publicly speak, as an introverted, non-confrontational type personality, I got to find a context in which I can do it. But then I can expand that context. You know, like, if you could, like, move a match with your mind, then you could do that consistently. You could, you know, work out the edges of that. You could figure out exactly how to, you know what, I'm not doing 47, 48. I'm going over the other side. Okay, I'll do a 47 by itself. But I guess the utility in this is, if you actually start to try and put significant effort into something, don't let the people around you, like, pull you down. Just keep going. Oh, he's just gonna run and run.
I need to get closer.
I do love Death Coil. Oh, you... I do like this area also because it's secluded. I mean, there was a quest out here to kill these guys, and there's like a dude in the cave over there you gotta kill. But there's plenty of them. They don't have ranged attack. Well, here's a weird thing. I've covered most of what I wanted to talk about. And I will, if I just keep talking, I'm going to end up in the weeds. So I think I might call this stream a little bit earlier than usual. Yes, this is going to be my therapy, I suppose. Friends and family will appreciate it if I can find a different outlet to talk about this stuff. Because, you know, I have to hold them hostage on occasion. But you don't have to agree with me, just listen to me talk so I can hear myself without being the crazy person talking to himself. But no, I have YouTube for that. Well, sort of. Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me. I will typically run longer, but this is it for today. I am the Expert Layman. You all have a good Sunday.